y'all, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny, y'all. I am here for the shenanigans again. Fat Joe is being sued. What is going on in Hollywood? It's falling apart. What do you mean? Let's listen to the lawsuit because it's juicy and crazy. I feel like Hollywood is gonna fall apart by 2030. At this rate, Hollywood's gonna fall apart by 2030. Let's get into it.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day. Money coming in all paid. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me.
Fat Joe on his R. Kelly-ish, his former hype man filed a $20 million lawsuit accusing Fat Joe of having relations with minors and paying for a 15-year-old girl's BBL.
It's hard to say which is more off the hook, a Diddy party or a Diddy after party, or a Diddy after party, which is basically a pre-party for the next Diddy party.
Tell you what I know, all right? I don't know everything about everything. I know a little bit about a little bit, okay?
Tell him something, Joe!
Now this one, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I really don't care too much about Fat Joe. This is not a Niner, okay? He's not black. He should not be celebrating Juneteenth with us today, okay? He should never have been allowed to use the N-word. This is a white Spaniard, okay? This is a whole white man. And I believe everything that is in these allegations. So this says, Fat Joe's former hype man officially files a $20 million lawsuit accusing Fat Joe of having S with minors, paying for a 15-year-old girl's BBL, forcing him to participate in humiliating sex acts, and more. More than 4,000 acts. He has more than 4,000 acts to maintain this standing. This is serious. Now, this says, according to Variety, the new lawsuit says Fat Joe took part in coercive labor exploitation, financial fraud, S manipulation, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion, with claims that Roc Nation helped cover it all up. Listen, most shockingly, it details alleged S relationships with minors. Dixon says he personally witnessed him engaged in S relations with children who were 15 and 16 years old. The suit mentions 3 Jane Does and alleges Joe would do things like pay their phone bills, give cash or clothes in exchange for the acts from a 16-year-old Dominican girl. It also accuses him of sleeping with a 15-year-old girl overseas and flying her to the state multiple times. That's trafficking. That's trafficking. It alleges that at some point Joe paid for the girl's BBL because her body wasn't fully formed yet. And Joe was in love with the girl and allegedly was going to leave his wife for her. My. And I believe everything about what they say about Joe, because if y'all from my era or older, we all remember how he did Terror Squad, including Remy. We all remember how he did Big Pun's widow, and the money and Big Pun's money that she should have rightfully gotten. And I'll never forget his verses when he sat there and was sitting there trying to talk badly about Little Mo and Beta. And then the next day, he got dragged so bad by black women that he had to come out and apologize to them. And I believe he bought them purses or flowers or something, which they shouldn't have accepted that shit. This is a grimy, trifling ass man who, once again, is not a part of the black community and should have never been allowed to use the N-word. And once again, I believe everything that his former hype man said. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section.
So the Fat Joe case. You know, it's straight. I wasn't actually even going to talk about the Fat Joe. I wasn't going to even mention this. Like, I see a lot of people online discussing the case, talking about, you know, these heroin acts, and these acts are heroin. Listen, the lawsuit is a 157-page lawsuit filed by a gentleman by the name of Terrence Dixon, otherwise known as T.A., who was Fat Joe's former employee, artist, subordinate, street tough, because, you know, he admits that he was in the streets once upon a time doing some street stuff. And it goes into a really deep, dark helm of this violence and crimes. Now, it's under the RICO statute, which is Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. And just to be clear, a lot of people are really, really confused by the idea of why RICO was used. RICO is just not limited to mobsters, right? RICO, you can file a RICO for civil and criminal. The only difference between the two is criminally, it's the government, the United States, not the government, the United States of America is the plaintiff, as opposed to a private citizen, like in this case, Terrence Dixon. The burden of proof is different. And criminal is based upon reasonable doubt, and civil is by preponderance of evidence. The damages that you can be awarded in criminal is a liberty damage. I mean, you can be sent away for the rest of your life in prison. And civil is a monetary damage, or perhaps you're asking the court to compel or otherwise impede somebody from doing something. The predicate acts that you're alleging is a little different. You're not necessarily going to allege murder in a civil matter, right? That's typically limited to criminal. Like, listen, RICO was first initiated against businessmen, right? The first RICO case, I think, was in 1979. The first RICO case was about a bunch of businessmen who was trying to bid for this sanitation bid contract. And they were doing kickbacks to get that contract. That's what RICO was about. The first RICO win was against the mob. So I guess that's why people are signaling it or otherwise attaching it to mob acts. But that was the first win because the government was getting their ass whooped, right? It was the mob that they lost, that they won, and it became like the mob statute. But just to be clear, I wasn't going to cover Fat Joe's case, not because of the violence that's alleged. And this case is extremely detailed with respect to the violence, right? I wasn't going to cover it because they're talking about the PPP scams and extortions and, it could be gleaned that Rock Nation is extorting Fat Joe. I wasn't really going to talk about that. I was actually bringing it up for two particular reasons. One, they're alleging Fat Joe partook in about 4,000 separate and distinct sexual acts with minors. Minor women, by the way, not men, right? Now, I'm trying to think. 4,000? How the hell do you count 4,000 acts? Not even Diddy has 4,000 that they've counted. 4,000? Like, how do you come to that actual number? Right? And it is a solid round number. It's not 3,942. It's 4,000. To have 4,000 separate and distinct acts, like how do you prove that? Right? Now, I would imagine they have access to this particular Jane Doe because she's not listed as a plaintiff. But because she's not listed as a plaintiff and Terrence Dixon is the one that's listed as a plaintiff, how could he testify to that? Right? So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, well, this didn't even make sense. How do you allege? Like, I can understand you alleging he engaged in certain sexual activities that you bore witness to, particularly with minors, so much so that he confided, meaning Joe confided in you that he's willing to leave his wife for her, that he's paying his minor's bills. She was 15 when he met her, 16 when he really got busy with her. I get that. He confided into you, but 4,000 acts? Like, where the fuck were you to be able to see he engaged with this girl 4,000 times sexually? So what I did was I looked at the lawyer. I'm like, what the fuck kind of lawyer? Who wrote this stuff? Right? And I don't want to say it like that, but sometimes you have to be critical. I have to be critical about people like me. So I looked at the lawyer. And long and behold, the lawyer in this case is Tyrone Blackburn. Now, I don't know if you know who Tyrone Blackburn is, but Tyrone Blackburn has come up in a lot of controversial incidents. He's actually the lawyer that represented Little Rod in the Little Rod lawsuit against Diddy. Now, the significance of Tyrone Blackburn in this controversy was he's being accused by a multitude of lawyers for embellishing the facts. Remember I mentioned embellishment a few days ago and how lawyers embellish facts? Tyrone Blackburn is being accused of not only exaggerating or outright lying about facts, but what he would do is he would make up a fact that's so extreme that he knows when people, the public, catch access to these lawsuits, they go, oh my God, right? 4,000 fucking sexual acts with minors. Oh my God. And then what he would do is later amend it. Because when you amend a lawsuit, whatever you said in that first lawsuit is like it never existed. This new lawsuit is the new lawsuit. Everything that you alleged in the last lawsuit is trash, right? And he was doing that in the Little Rod case. In fact, what he did was he was alleging that the executives in the Little Rod case was partaking in the sexual acts along with Diddy. And then he would amend it and say, because it was clear that they weren't even there when these acts happened. So then he would amend it, and then he would add some other exaggerated act. That's when I think he said one of the singers, I think it was Usher or what's that guy name from Love and Hip Hop? I can't remember his name. The fucking weird, the creep guy. I can't remember his name. But he had the creep guy. Y'all help me out. Whatever his name is. Damn, what the hell? Stevie J. When he said Stevie J was in a sex tape with some guy, and it come to find out that this bozo lawyer took that sex tape from some porn site and injected it in. It wasn't Stevie J. It was some other guy. So he amended that, right? And then he was like, oh, I got this from, Little Rod. So I looked at this and I'm like, this shit is sad. Right? This is sad. If it is true that 4,000 fucking sexual acts, like who the hell, how do you prove that? But if it is true that he's embellishing it, it's sad because the state of the economy that we in against blacks and browns specifically is at its all-time low. Right? And obviously I'm not comparing it to slavery because you can't compare that time. I'm not comparing it to the civil rights movement. You can't compare that time. I'm not comparing it to the 90s the 80s crack epidemic. I'm not comparing it to the 90s onslaught on black and brown people with incarceration. Of course, I'm not comparing it to any of that. But in this day and age, in this social media day and age, and how all of these black powerful men are being just accused of these ridiculous crimes or these ridiculous acts with impunity is, troublesome. And you think it's like, listen, no one is perfect. We all have done some dirt in our life. No, all of us. Like I'm one to always say, listen, you give me 10 minutes of candid responses to questions, I can show you committed at least 100 years worth of crimes. Right? But it's just unfortunate because when I look at this case and I'm reading these fucking ridiculous allegations, I'm like, damn, man. Even if some of it is true, the fact that you have this taints the whole thing. I don't know. But do y'all believe that? 4,000 acts, Fat Joe? Fat Joe committed 4,000 acts against several minors, like 3 or 4 minors. Do you think that's true? You think he's capable of that from what he says, from the image that he gives? No. Anywho, I'm Mr. CKB and I'm out.
Now, take it slow now. Remember when Fat Joe sued his ex-hype man for extortion and defamation? Well, plot twist. T.A. Dixon just flipped the script and hit Fat Joe with a whole RICO lawsuit. Federal court, $20 million, racketeering, Diddy type stuff. Intimidation, witness tampering, even minors are mentioned in the claims. Now, all of this is alleged. If you thought Fat Joe was just gonna lean back after his lawsuit in April, this one that dropped today just might make him fall back. The question is this real revenge or both?
Sure, man. What were you like in high school?
Terrible. The biggest bully. I once robbed my whole gym. The whole gym.
Like
70 kids
robbed them?
without a gun. Like, yo, everybody give me your coats, give me your Walkmans, give me your this. Some of the kids I was actually cool with.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I was like, yo, run it. Everybody, run it. I couldn't even carry it. Some of the guys I robbed had to help me carry the stuff with them.
Get the fuck out of here.
Terrible.
C-A-P.
Cap. When I tell you there's no loyalty amongst thieves, so now Fat Joe's hype man is saying that Fat Joe did all these horrible things 20-something, 30-something years ago, right? Why you didn't say something back then? Why would you come out with a lawsuit? Like, this is like the takedown of anybody in the music industry. Is this the way to deter the kids these days to not want to be a rapper or entrepreneur or this because they need workers? Because I'm trying to figure out, why is it a lawsuit against powerful men every single day being thrown? Like, and then I just don't understand. And you talk about was you a Cassie? He forced you to do it. Ain't nobody force y'all to do shit. Y'all knew what the fuck was going on, and everybody know what goes on in the industry, and all of a sudden now it's wrong. Now you got a conscience. You should have had a conscience when you seen him paying for a 15-year-old girl's BBL if that happened, or when he was messing with kids or underage girls. Why you ain't say nothing in? Because your ass was doing it too. Like, I don't understand. Now you mad because it's money involved. You're upset because you're not living the lifestyle that Joey is living. I'm just confused. Like all of a sudden, like, it's every single, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Cat Williams said this is going to be the year of, you know what I'm saying? But it looked like it's only for us. It's not for nobody else. We're the only ones being taken down by each other. Not by each other, through their ways. Y'all know what to do. Get in the comments. Let's go. But come on, yo. Like, you ain't say nothing then. Now you going to say something now.
Fat Joe is in a world of trouble, y'all, and could be the next Diddy. Not only is the rapper being sued for $20 million by his former hype man, the hype man is also accusing him of having inappropriate relationships with multiple children and even flew one across state lines to be intimate with her in exchange for cash, clothes, and cell phone bill payments. But it gets worse because in the 157-page shocking report, Dixon claims he witnessed this with his own eyes and claims Fat Joe paid for one of the minors to get a Brazilian butt lift because her body was still adolescent and not fully formed. Dixon even claims Fat Joe fell in love with one of the minors and considered leaving his wife for her. This is a lot, y'all, and despite how salacious the claims are, we have to take these accusations with a grain of salt because Dixon is being represented by Tyrone Blackburn. And if you don't remember, Tyrone Blackburn was hired to represent a ton of Diddy accusers, and the majority of those cases didn't go anywhere, so I'm not sure if Dixon's accusations will stand. It's also important to note, Dixon's lawsuit is in retaliation to Fat Joe, suing him for slandering his name online.
She told me that Puff was fucking Fat Joe's wife, that's why Fat Joe don't show up for him, and like, cause I'm like, yo, where are all his friends? Where's Fat Joe? Where's
Benzino told me he was Fat Joe's wife too, Loretta?
Yeah.
Loretta.
You better knock it off, Loretta.
Loretta.
You with the bullshit.
Damn.
Because Capricorn Clark definitely said you were sneaking out that Miami house. 1,000%.
But Benzino said she liked threesomes. Dwayne Wade's baby mama Pumpkin used to do threesomes with Benzino. Because Fat Joe eat everything but pussy.
Well, again, Tasha, like...
But Auntie Cheryl, I didn't run. I escaped.
You can't escape family.
Bet that thing has a few stories.
More than you know. But she the only family I got out of.
No, I know that's not true. Your mother told me stories about you and your sisters. I think she would want them there. I think they would want to be here.
Pretty sure she didn't tell you everything.
Apparently, look, the hospice nurse said that she might not make it through the night.
Mama ain't did nothing but love them. And I just don't understand. How you go years without speaking to your own mama?
But for her to know what was going on all those years and not do nothing about it, it's unforgivable.
So no, I don't have no intentions of holding your hand, okay? I'm not here to do that. I want you to tell me where my son is. Man, you know where your son is.
I go see a counselor every week to make sure I'm on the up and up, all right? And he thought it'd be a good idea to write my thoughts down and shit.
But we never talk about it. You shut down, and Kiara, you run from it. So I'm the one that's left to take it.
The one thing that I learned from all this is, at the end of the day, all we have is each other.
Watch this full.
Fat Joe, defendant Carter Jr. frequently, allegedly arranged and orchestrated these encounters, intentionally creating scenarios designed to reinforce plaintiffs, who was the guy, Mr. Dixon, complete submission. Defendant Carter Jr. regularly monitored these encounters closely, frequently remaining in the room to watch. Who does it sound like? Come on, wow. Or provide explicit direction and commands. You can't make this stuff up, folks. You cannot make this stuff up. By the way, fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Now, the lawsuit also claims that Fat Joe and his associates inflated Dixon's reported income to the IRS to mask wage theft and increase his tax liability. Dixon says he was deprived of at least $600,000 in royalties and excluded from future earnings tied to his creative work. This is getting deeper.
It's hard to say which is more off the hook, a Diddy party or a Diddy after party. or a Diddy after. Hold up.
What is this? Yo,
Hey,
a cereal?
you cut that out. You cut that out.
A cereal heat? A cereal?
That was
Frosted
wild.
Listen to what I'm saying.
You woke me up.
What I'm saying is if I go to...
What the hell?
Yo.
What
He's
I'm
really
saying
trying
is
to
if
go
I
number
go to a
one.
sporting event...
You serious about this number one spot? I see
No. I mean, can I explain this?
Go ahead,
I'm
my
listening. Trust me.
When
I might
go
not
to
be
any
looking.
sporting event, no matter what kind of steak, lobster, whatever they got, I gotta eat a hot dog. Okay, let me verify it that way. I have to eat a hot dog and eat some popcorn. You know, now you go to Yankee Stadium, they got sushi, they got lobster, they got all type of stuff when you go in the club. If I'm no good.
He can't say that, right? I mean, it's just no saving from that.
Shit, you know what I'm saying? What you want me to do? I gotta own up to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, brother.
I
don't feel you, but I feel
crazy guy. Yo,
I feel you.
He skip all of the Michelin star food. Just give you a glizzy, huh?
That's
That's
it.
crazy.
That's it.
Dog. That's crazy.
No, I'm telling you. Knicks and
2025 and everything coming out. You got Fat Joe paying minors get to go get BBL? Sleeping with minors? Oh my gosh. What's going on? If another person come out, I am done. I am done. I am done with this, man. I'm telling ya. This is crazy. Cat Williams, what the heck you poured in the fucking Hollywood water in it?